Alright, here is the video review for NewAge DARIUS, aka, as you can see, Galvatron, and he's actually pretty cool and neat. They did several variations. They did a version that was Straxus. They did a Shattered Glass version that was basically this with like a cockpit and wings strapped to it, but still somehow looked compellingly fun to play with. So we'll see. I don't find him quite as overall refined as their Starscream, but he does some neat things with a few minor issues. Now he does come with, I'll show this one off in alt mode, he does come with a little matrix on a chain. Now I have run this chain behind it so it kind of sits more horizontal the way it did in the movie, because it's very small, and like to get it, this chain is already very tiny, and to get one that could hook on, I might get some small little like rings, metal rings, like a keychain ring, but very tiny, that I could hook around this to maybe attach it to this chain a little better, because you can see it sits a little awkwardly, but you can, originally it came with just the chain through one end of this, so it would hang vertically on his chest, which was just weird, and it's still a little awkward, but you can hang it there on his cannon mode if you want to do that, like the leader class. But it's just a little cannon. It's got a little support straight under here. I have the feet oriented, like the instructions have the feet just sticking straight out to the side like this. But and that's personal preference. I just kind of folded them down to keep them out of the way. You can fold them up if you want, although they don't quite fold, disappear quite as well vertically. Although, well, I don't know. Maybe that looks okay. That's all starting to come untransformed. Some of the things don't tab together quite as securely as I'd prefer. But all in all, it holds. Like these little tabs right down here that the arms are attached to can be a little bit of a pain. They don't really want to attach securely down here, although they're actually holding together pretty well. But in robot mode, this one especially likes to flip out when you move the shoulder, but we'll get to that. But yeah, there's a little cannon mode, and it looks like Galvatron's cannon mode. To transform it, go ahead and pop that piece off and that piece off, and of course combine them. You want to do it so that way, yeah, that way with the fin up and this slot facing down, because this is how it's going to attach to his arm. Do that, and then right here, bring this piece down and fold this little purple panel in. We'll go ahead and rotate that around. That's going to come up here onto the back of the arm. Bring the arm down and then collapse it, and make sure it goes all the way up, because you pull it out to go to robot mode, or to go to cannon mode, and then collapse it down. Same thing over here. Fold that in, rotate the tread up to the back of the arm, fold that up, and you can kind of almost see the gap there for the sliding joint. Slide that all the way up so it snaps. Come up here, untab this gray piece from here, and go ahead and fold that up, and then you can fold these panels up and fold these panels to the inside, so it becomes a mostly flat panel. It's got some humps to it, but mostly flat like that. Bring this up. The arms are going to untab from these gray tabs that flip out, and sometimes it's secure, sometimes it's not. You can see the little hole it's supposed to go in, but like it doesn't always latch. It'll go in there, it'll fit in that slot, but it doesn't really latch securely. It's very easy to pull it off of there when you're moving, trying to support or adjust the treads. But then those little pieces just kind of fold into the torso here, behind there like that, and then untab these side panels here and fold them up like that. And this whole thing, lift that up. This whole assembly rotates around, and then fold that down. This whole assembly up here with the arms rotates around like that, and then kind of fold. This comes in to form the midsection of his torso, and then that folds up. The arms rotate down here like that, and flip the shoulders up. And these panels kind of, once everything's closed up, and then this panel comes up and folds onto his back like that, and this panel folds up and latches that in place. And then these come down, and they will, this is what I'm talking about, you kind of fold this down, this panel should, it tabs in here, but it doesn't click into place. Unless I'm just not maybe I just wasn't pushing it far enough. Well, that's going to make it hard to get out. Okay, now it's much more secure. I may have just not been pushing that in far enough. But before it would like to pop out every time you lifted the arm up. The whole panel would lift up. Yeah, bring that down. That actually raises the robot mode up a couple points in my book. Cool little face. And then down here, I'll go ahead, rotate the waist around. And you're going to open these up and bring the knees up and around like that. Make sure that goes all the way back into here, because this panel folds in like this. And then bring the foot around like that, and then fold. You got to get it all flat. Oh, you actually need to bring the knee up like this, fold this in, fold that all the way in, and then you see that knee comes back down into that slot to hold the leg together, and this little panel folds in on the outside of the foot, and that little panel folds down. And the same thing on this leg. Bring it up, and bring it all the way up, bring it up so it snaps in, and then rotate the knee back so you can collapse this panel in, and you can see how it tabs together there, there at the top. Bring the foot around to the front. Sometimes this panel will close on its own. Fold that down, fold that down. Yeah, let's get him a little in focus, in frame, up a little bit higher. There we go. And you take the cannon, and again that slot, slide around to his arm, and there is DARIUS in robot mode. Again, much improved by being able to lift his shoulders without untabbing that thing. Glad I figured that out, even if it was a little late. But yeah, those little pegs that come out are a little difficult to. Maybe I just need to push them on there, although I don't think you can get much further than where I had them bolted up. But yeah, there's a quick turnaround. And it's a pretty nice little Galvatron. Got some die cast to it, so he's got a little bit of heft. Again, here he is with the Matrix, and you can fit it over his head, even with the shortened loop. Doesn't sit quite right, but close enough to have it there on his chest. And yeah, we'll see how that goes, because again, the way it came, it was just through one loop, and it would have sat like vertically on his chest like this, but maybe a little lower because the chain wasn't wrapped around the Matrix. But I just think if you get that sitting there, if you're going to have him wear the Matrix on his chest, and I don't know that I will that often, I just think that looks a little better to have it sitting horizontally. He comes with a little pistol that he can wield if you want him to have even more gun power. He comes with some alternate hands, 2 little sets. He's got, then the hands just pop right off like that. So he's got pointing fingers for each hand. So he can give you the finger guns. All right. Or and then he's got 2 open palm hands. Oh, that's the wrong hand. But really, the fists work best for. Personally, I'm like, it's like I'm not gonna say it was aliens, but aliens. This is this pose. So he's got alternate hands. You don't need to use them. I think the fists work well all around, but if you want some options, you got them. He also comes with 2 alternate faces here. He comes with kind of a smirking Galvatron face, and then he's got a kind of angry grimace and more of a happier smile. Again, I'm a bad guy smile, but a happier smile than comes in this stock face, slightly open mouth smile, and it can be a little difficult because it actually. The leverage is under the chin, but the pegs that go in, you can see, are up here at the top of the face. So it takes a little wiggling, and I'm sure if you had a flat piece, you could get it out. That actually came out easier than it has been. And you can swap out the faces. So here he is with the angry face, and Here he is with a... Again, this is a case where I prefer the stock face. Now, come on, come out of there, face. Again, the way his shoulder pads are, it's hard to get underneath there unless you get like a flat tool or something. So let me see if I can't pop it. There we go. Well, that's on... Oh, there it is. Okay, it's on the floor somewhere. Got my toe on it, so I know where it goes. So I know where it went. And here he is with the slightly happier open mouth smile. But I do generally just prefer the straight one that came with it. Oh, there we go. Got my finger up there behind the top. It's a little difficult to do. Kind of neutral face. And because we mentioned him earlier in the review, I don't have a lot of NewAge figures yet. I'm waiting on that new Bumblebee and Cliffjumper set. I do have the original Bumblebee and Prowl, but there he is with Starscream. Starscream's all, Megatron, is that you? And you know how that scene goes because we've all seen that movie several times. But yeah, it's very neat. It's very cool. Again, better now that I found that locking mechanism for the arms. Not 100% perfect. I may have to put a repro label there on his chest. But like I said, overall, I feel like I'm more impressed with the Starscream, both with just the transformation and the two modes. But it's a nice little Galvatron. If you're collecting this scale, he looks great. Oh, also real quick, I forgot I got out. Again, different company, but this is what he looks like with the Iron Factory Scourge. And even then, they are different. You can tell they're different design cues, but looks okay. Poseability-wise, he does have the ball joint there at the neck, a ball joint at the shoulder. He's got the bicep swivel, dual hinged elbows. He's got a wrist swivel. Does have a waist swivel, which is nice. Ball joint hips, thigh swivel. Again, dual hinge knees, which is nice. And then he's got some toe tilt, and he's got a ball joint there at the ankle. So you've got a nice range of motion in him if you want to have him in some cool poses. That should come up like that there. Oh, no, see, I just unpegged that arm. But we'll just make sure we push it all the way back in. There we go. Now you just got to stand. Now you just got to do your part. I did my part. There we go. But there is NewAge DARIUS, a.k.a. Galvatron. Very cool, very fun. Again, another one that if you're into it, if you're collecting the scale, it's a good Galvatron to fit in your shelf.